I'm Kaylee and I'm 21. I've had PH since I was 3 weeks before I was one, actually. So nearly 20 years.
And I'm Kaylee's mum, and I look after her. I just do the do. Kaylee struggled to thrive from when she was born. It just took ages to get her into a feeding routine, and then onto solids. She just started being sick. I did say to them she was blue on her nose and her fingers because she was constantly checked at the hospital because she was failing to thrive. And they said not to worry about it. On the last appointment that we had with the hospital, her dad came with us and he said, "We're not leaving until you find what's wrong. Something is wrong." So yeah, it was really hard. They sort of said to us that she won't live to be 5. There wasn't much known about it at that time. It was still early days, and just to go home and enjoy her. So essentially, that's what we done. Had to tell family, but I didn't give up. I searched the net. I kept looking for, I don't know, different things to do with pulmonary hypertension. The PHA came up, and I got in contact with someone there, and then was put on to Professor Howard at Great Ormond Street Hospital. And yeah, it went from there. She took us under her wing, got us sorted on medication and trial as well in that sort of stage at that age. And yeah, she's now 21.
It's honestly crazy to me because to think back to what mum and dad had to go through with all of that, and then to be told that I wouldn't make it till I was 5, and it's so, I don't know, it's really it just makes me feel grateful for all of the medical technology and all of the evolving medicines that we get, and to believe I'm 21 now, it's so crazy. And I can't even imagine what mum and dad felt back then, and I can't even imagine what they feel now.
Immensely proud. So during nursery, they were really good. Everyone knew about her. So nursery was just mornings. And then school time, she was at school for about 3 months, and then we managed to organise a Senko person for her, and that was her one-to-one all day, every day, which meant she didn't miss out on anything in school. She was always there, not over her shoulder all the time, but she was there in the background. So if there was anything amiss, she knew, either to, get Katie rest to one side for a little bit, or help her if she signaled she needed the bathroom, or, just those little walks that she had to do.
She also done all of my medication and everything at lunchtime.
So that's it. She was that was Kaylee's one-to-one throughout her primary school years, her first school years. And she just stayed there, and she was the same person. So we were really, really lucky. I wouldn't say it was much of a fight to get anything for her. I'm kind of the person that if she's going to need something, I will sort it. So, and that's what we've done. The only struggle she really had at school was if the weather was really hot. She would probably do a half day because she was quite tired. Other than that, she'd done really well. School trips, she went on all the school trips.
You came with me though.
I was on the school trips.
I hated secondary school, I really did. People are always like, "Oh, make the most of your high school days because you'll miss them." I don't miss them at all. So there was a area in my high school, it was called the base, and it was where all of the special needs children or learning difficulty children went to get help, and you had your own TA, and you got help in lessons, and they'd help me carry my bag that was heavy and stuff. But when I got there, they obviously were a bit scared about me and everything, because on paper I look really scary, but when you meet me in person, it looks like there's not really anything wrong with me. So they really wrapped me up in cotton wool, and they wouldn't let me outside, they wouldn't let me in the playground, they And I really missed that start point of like where you make friends and you like join groups and stuff. And I completely missed all of that because they wouldn't let me outside. And I enjoyed the base, I enjoyed being there, and I enjoyed the people there. They were so nice, they were so lovely, but they just did not let me be independent. And I really, really struggled to make friends because everyone then saw me as I was different. Towards the end, it got a bit better. And they like helped me in all of like my GCSEs. I was able to take breaks, I got extra time. I was allowed to TA in there, like when I needed it. So once they got to know me, I mean, it took 3 years, but once they got to know me, it was okay. But I just didn't like the way they handled things at the beginning. So that was quite a struggle. But yeah.
With Kaylee's early medication, we started off with Bazantin. When Prof House saw us, she was trialing it on a 3-year-old first and said, we'll see how the 3-year-old takes to it and then we'll get Kaylee in. So about 4 months after we met with Prof House, she got us in, and we were in a high dependency ward with this 1.5-year-old toddler running around like a lunatic, and everyone wondering why she needed to be there. But it was, trial stages with Bazantin on a child so young, and she was the youngest after the 3-year-old. So yeah, they tried her on that. We was in for 10 days, and we came home and she stayed on Bazantin, and then about 6 months later they added sildenafil in with a mix, and she's pretty much been on that for ever. Yeah. Dosages have gone up, so that's been good. We had a break off of Bazantin for about 4 years, between the ages of, I'd say, high school years, wasn't it really? So she had a break off Bazantin, and then they put it back into the program because they felt that would help her moving on to sixth form and college and give her a bit more energy. So it was brought back in. So yeah, that's pretty much been a staples of her medication, and also oxygen overnight, every night. So it just seems to help her feel a bit more refreshed in the morning.
Transition into adult care was so hard. It was a bit of a weird time because I had so many I was under so many like people at Gosh. So I had like my PH, my back, my gastro. There was a lot of like things that I went to Gosh for. So for my whole life I'd been going to Gosh, no other hospital. Yeah, everything was in one place, and I loved it there. It was, I always looked forward to going there. It was like my favorite thing to do. They had like the Disney Reef, they had the lagoon, and I just really, it's like my safe space, so to say. The atmosphere there is so nice, and everyone was of course so lovely. And then when we started to make that transition to adult care, although they really tried to like stagger it and make sure I had like a really smooth transition, it just was so quick. Like, even though they'd done that whole staggering of the transition, I was just in adult care like that. They just dropped me and I was in adult care. That's what it felt like. And going into adult care, it's in the grand scheme of things, they actually know me really well. They're really lovely, and they took on my care so well, and they do a great job of it. But I think just the atmosphere is different. They talk to me this time, and they don't actually talk to mum. Whereas I used to just sit there and listen and be quite happy to sit there and listen, and then they'd be like, "How are you feeling?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm good," and that was it. But now they actually talk to me, and like, it's kind of a bit more nerve-wracking to go to an appointment in adult services. For the young person, it can be quite intimidating. For me, it was quite intimidating, but I think they are there to help you, and they just want to do what's best for you. And a lot of the time, my mum advocates for me, and that just, I find it a lot easier to listen than to talk to someone, they use a lot of words that I don't understand. So it's like okay to tell them, like, if you want your parent to advocate for you, let them do it. Like they will do what you want for them. No, scrap that. they will do everything they can to make you feel comfortable and to help you. It's just speaking about it and like making it known what your preferences are. But yeah,
I wouldn't call it adapting really. It's kind of just been life for us. My first Cassie, she's been brilliant. She was almost 10 when Kaylee was born, so we also had to make sure Cassie had her time. That's just a new baby and older sibling kind of thing. And then, as Kaylee got bigger, it was still finding time for Cassie, which that was a little bit more difficult by the time, we sort of knew more about Kaylee. But we still did it. We still managed it. I still done the school runs. I'd done all of that. Kaye just come with us. She was part and parcel of everything. And then we had Max, and he just fitted right in. He was so good, especially with the hospital appointments. Max was my easygoing child, and he would go to anyone. He was really easy. He didn't care where he was as long as he was getting cuddles, so he was fine. But growing up, she would still do everything the others had attempted to do. I mean, she took some different paths though. She'd done the ballet, we'd done horse riding, we also done swimming lessons like the others had done. Well, we just stuck to holidays in the UK, and we used to have some great holidays. There was a whole bunch of us, very close friendship group, adults, and they all had their children. And yeah, we loved holidays in North Devon.
I think the only thing with holidays is we had to obviously arrange oxygen, make sure we had enough meds.
Yeah, it was just calling up the oxygen company, making sure the oxygen was there for when we arrived. Kaye hated the beach. We loved the beach, but she hated it.
I think it's just
did.
It's our normal. Everyone sees us adapting everything, but to them, we're adapting everything. But to us, it's normal.
Yeah,
it's like it's just no different to us.
I suppose because we've grown with it, and not had it into our lives at say when she was 13 or 15, and then for those families,
and then had to adapt.
Yeah, they really have to adapt, and that must be really hard. But we kind of grow with it, and
I feel like in that sense, I feel like I'm lucky to have had it from such a young age, because I don't know any different now, and everyone sees it as such a hindrance to my life, and I'm just like, but it's not. This is my normal. Yeah. I don't know any different. So I feel quite lucky in that sense, actually. I haven't known any different, and I think it's just made me a stronger person. I'm not scared of anything. I'm not scared of hospitals. I'm not scared of needles. I'm not, nothing really bothers me anymore. And I think, I get a lot of anxiety, but it's nothing to do with PH, nothing to do with hospitals. And I feel quite lucky in that sense as well. Nothing really phases me. Like I feel like that's what's it's helped me with. It's helped me like just get on with a lot of stuff, and it's also taught me to stand up for myself. Like if I'm not happy with something, tell someone. Yeah. Like
definitely now,
especially like in high school, if I didn't like something, I'd tell them, because I know myself better than anyone does. So
I'm a good mum. I don't know.
It's a damn strong one too. At that.
I don't know what has it taught me. I mean, I know things science and medically that I never knew I would know in that respect, but it's taught me to fight, I suppose.
We're a close family anyway, but I feel like it's just made us that bit closer. Like we go everywhere together. Like if it's to do with me, if it's to do with PH, if it's to do with Max, if it's to do with Cassie, like we all do it together. And I think just growing up around like such uncertain times, I think has just made us appreciate everything more. And I think we just enjoy being together as a family, and we just do it all together. And I feel like PH has a lot to thank for that as well.